give me a beat. Tonight's the night, and it's feeling right. It's a family affair, but all can share, cause this type of thing comes only once a year. The Washington family's gonna put it down with the livest party in town to be found. Look up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane. Yo, it's Russell Morgan and the man's insane. Coming with mad cheese, boy please. Blowing his horn or put you down on your knees. Russell Morgan keeps you guessing, never stressing, always blessing. His favorite one, my Isha. Bright as the sun. Y'all with me? Keep it going now. Keep it going now. One time. Y'all with me?
We went back for the original source to the E.T.A. Hoffman tale, which is this tale that Tchaikovsky built or based his first Nutcracker score on. And it's a very dark, a very dramatic, and a very convoluted tale.
Well, in approaching something like E.T.A. Hoffman's The Nutcracker, you very simply say, hey, look, this is, on one level, a Gothic European folktale that was finally written down by Hoffman. But on another level, this is a story told from a child's vantage point about a childhood experience, about some bizarre uncle who gave this very strange gift at a Christmas party.
The story begins at the Washington family home. A lot of storytelling had to take place in this scene, and we've tried to condense it. And we also tried to bring in sort of a lot of different sort of elements of contemporary pop culture and sort of the type of dance the kids do at their own parties. So we played with salsa and Afro rhythm and hip hop and just plain old swing and as many elements as we could blend in successfully. Kids were front and center in the creative process. We'd sort of give them little choreographic assignments. And, we'd say in picture one, you show that someone's getting a gift. Picture number two, one kid takes the gift and breaks the gift. And in picture number three, the resolution, whatever that resolution is. And then all 30 kids worked on that same assignment. And then we'd sort of pick the ones that were visually the best.
production that really speaks to the urban people, I think. Watching the children's response to the urban Nutcracker has been sort of an instant rapport between the dancers and their audience because they're speaking the same language.
The battle scene is fascinating because it's on a very real level. Came right out of conversations with kids, but also imagistically, it represents some of the things that are going on in the city that you don't see on an everyday basis when you live in the inner city, but you know they're there. Have our rats that crawl up out of the sewer, and they just cannot get it together. They're scrappy, they got this egomaniac as their leader, but they just are a very disorganized, disheveled group of thugs. But then we have also the counterculture of the spiders, who are very meticulous, very methodical in their counterculture behavior. It's the whole turf war thing placed in Maisha's living room.
from the sewer, the undisputed ruler, better than Tony Montana. Say goodnight to the good guy and say hello to my little friends. Well, you don't know, the rats and the spiders get funky again, and the 9-9 looking real fine, baby. Sewer style.
The kids have no problem with creativity at all. They love it, they enjoy it, they're very proficient at it. I think the difficult thing is the repetition that is involved in production. Doing it 19 times over. And because our first exposure was intensely creative, now that we're in our third year, they'd much rather be creating a brand new production than recreating. Recreating is more difficult.
I always felt that that we were capable of showing the people that what was being achieved in the Cleveland School of the Arts was really working. And that we were really showing that when you combine the arts and academics, you make learning very exciting.
The snow scene was based on the idea of crystals, how they form and how sometimes they look very much alike and how at other times they look very different. And in the very end, they sort of all melt and then drift off. I was amazed at how much ground the kids could cover with a truly intensive exposure to this type of learning experience. And they sort of feed off of one another's energy. And also, you know, the older kids would model a lot of behavior and a lot of choreography, and so there was a lot of sort of cross-training going on.
I saw in these kids an unbelievable amount of energy and creativity, and they weren't held by a lot of the rules that I had adopted dancing in a company and being on tour with a very codified and specific technique. when you get to know any kid, I don't care where they come from, when you get to know the person, you realize you've got all kinds of connective tissue. But you have to go through that process of investing in the relationship.
The basketball scene we researched for quite a long time, and we actually had a person from the local professional team come and teach us some basketball drills. And then we said, well, do you want to take a look at some of the stuff that we have done? And he was nearly on the edge of tears because he was so astonished at how creative the kids had been with a basketball. There's so many aspects to this level of production, and to attempt this level of production with school kids, I think that it has been sort of a triumphant labor and a triumphant production in terms of the story behind the story.
I arrived in Cleveland and I expected to be in a theater, but we didn't have a home. It's sort of it started out as a homeless production. Everything happened in the school. We had costumes stored in the attic. We did costume fittings in the gallery. We had all the clothes scattered on the floor. I mean, it was sort of a mad production. I found myself sort of being a production manager as well as designer, being my own assistant shopper and training young students who'd never been exposed to theater to run backstage, to run wardrobe, and to sort of run this great big operation, because consisting of 200 costumes. We have multiple changes. We have anywhere between 32 and 36 children changing 5 times backstage. Organizing that backstage is a production in itself. And all of that has been done with very young kids. Most of my crew is between 14 and 16.
My biggest challenge as a choreographer in the project of an urban Nutcracker is the fact that I put ice on bruised heads, and I, get the Band-Aids and run rehearsals and try the logistics. And for me, I think I'm dealing with a level of, I guess, leadership and mentorship that I wasn't prepared for at the conservatory. Just the logistics of how do you feed 40 kids and get them to the theater and those things, for me, that has been the more difficult task than actually the choreography.
I think the toughest thing to make this project happen is to keep everybody focused. We had specific goals in our mind, and it was very hard to just keep on going. There were problems. Was always not a picnic. And to keep the people believing in the project at times required hard work, to keep everybody together and to not let the tiredness and the disappointments from time to time, interfere with what we were really trying to achieve here. And, but we did.
Well, the most interesting part of the research process was going to the neighborhoods, researching streetwear. That has been truly interesting. What kids like, how urban kids wear their clothes. What is it to be 14 and 16, and what's cool and what's not? How do you wear your hat, your baseball cap? How do you wear your sneakers? Do you tie your shoes? Do you roll up the leg of your pants?
Fashion is very important, and what you look like. When one of the kids said to me, "When you meet me, it's going to be on the street, and what I look like is all you're going to get to know." I thought, wow, that's pretty profound. What you see in the Paris scene is the cast members are wearing each other. It's people wearing other people as garments, and it has very unusual psychological underpinnings of how people use each other, and sort of the dark side of some of those things, but it's dealt with in a very lighthearted manner. What's very fun is the bulk load of the performing that is being done with this production is for other kids within the Cleveland Municipal School District. And we've got 77,000 kids who are lucky if they ever get an art lesson. So to get them an opportunity to come to this theater and see kids who live next door, for example, performing this narrative at the level of production that it's at, it's incredible.
I always believed in the project, and I always thought that the children at the Cleveland School of the Arts, and for that matter, any child, is capable of great things. And so are the teachers. You just need to believe in them, and you need to provide them with an environment that allows them to feel supportive and to have the tools to do the things they have to do in order to succeed.
In China, we decided to go with a very small cast of characters, and that last fall, when we were sort of completing part 2, we were exhausted. We were exhausted by the noise, the numbers, and we thought, well, let's keep China very, very, very simple. And then several of the advanced boys, they love doing the martial arts, and so we based it on the martial arts.
This city has incredible talent in it, particularly in these kids. And what's fascinating to me is people are constantly surprised in production. Those are children? No, those dancers are not from Pilobolus. Those are kids from the School of the Arts.
I think the kids learned that anything is possible, that they're able to do anything, pretty much anything that they would like to do in the creative world, in the world of theater. That doors are open, that they're talented. Their creativity has been greatly encouraged, and that theater is magical. It can help you through tough times, and also it has taught them discipline and commitment.
Trinidad and Carnival was important. A lot of the children said that if Michael Jordan gave me money to go somewhere, I would go to the Caribbean. Carnival began as an investigation of the Caribbean and wanting to hang out at the beach in the middle of the winter. I really hope that people, when they leave the theater in the evening, at the end of an Urban Nutcracker, walk out with a very different and much a better informed idea of what inner city kids are all about and capable of. Media portrayal in America and what my everyday reality is and my 10-year relationships with some of these kids are vastly different. I think the thing that's going to stick in my head till I'm 90 about this production happened this fall when I was in a rehearsal with the three lead characters, and Kenya Drake, who is one of our Maishas, was watching a videotape of last year's performance and remounting the duet, and she was watching this thing, and just this look of awe came over her face, and she said, "Is that really me? Is that really us?" And I think that was, for me, profound, because they have no clue how beautiful they are.